Imagine waking up every single day knowing that you're building something you love, controlling your own time, and making more money than your corporate job ever paid you. Now, imagine doing all of this by simply being yourself online. Sounds impossible? Tell that to the guy who turned cutting things in half with his son into a 7-figure business, or the dentist who uses Musical.ly to attract patients, or the 75-year-old women who became top podcasters reviewing movies at Ruby Tuesday. Here's the uncomfortable truth. While you're scrolling through Instagram wondering how these people made it, they're executing strategies that Gary Vaynerchuk laid out years ago. The platforms have evolved, the opportunities have multiplied, but most people are still making the same excuses. Today, we're breaking down every single strategy from crushing it, the blueprint that transformed ordinary people into influencers and built million-dollar personal brands. This isn't theory. This is the exact playbook being used right now by people who were once exactly where you are. Before we dive deep, if you're serious about building real wealth and transforming your life, subscribe to Millionaire Playbook right now. This channel doesn't give you motivation that fades by tomorrow. We give you implementation systems that change your life permanently. Hit that subscribe button because what you're about to learn will only work if you commit to taking action. Part 1. The new reality of personal branding. Let me start with something Gary said that should shake you awake. He wrote "Crush It" in 2009, and back then, people thought he was crazy for saying social media would change business forever. Today, his understatement has become reality. His exact words were, "My story is about to become a lot less unusual." He was right, but here's what most people miss. It's not just about being on social media. It's about understanding what these platforms actually represent. Think about this. Right now, as you're listening to this, there are 11-year-old kids making millions by creating content about things that make no sense to traditional business minds. Karina Garcia became financially free making slime videos. 2 guys named Dan and Lincoln cut things in half on camera and built a multi-million-dollar brand. These aren't outliers anymore. They're proof of concept. Gary's core argument is simple but profound. We are living in the best time in human history to build a business around what you love, not what you tolerate, not what pays the bills, what you actually love. The platforms exist. The audience is waiting. The only question is whether you'll stop making excuses and start executing. Let me break down the 8 essentials that Gary identifies as non-negotiable for crushing it. Miss even one of these and you'll struggle. Master all 8 and you become unstoppable. Essential 1. Intent. Your intent is everything. Gary is brutally honest here. If you're getting into this just to make money, you'll probably fail. The entrepreneurs who win are those who genuinely care about serving people. They want to help, to teach, to provide value, to build community. The money comes as a result of that service, not as the goal itself. Here's how Gary explains it. He's made massive amounts of money, but he's also left massive amounts on the table. Why? Because his intent is about legacy, not just wealth. He doesn't sell online courses even though he could make millions, because he believes that would create a conflict where he'd reserve his best content for paying customers. His intent is to give his best stuff away for free, and that intent has built him a loyal audience that will support him forever. Look at the entrepreneurs featured in this book: Brittany Castro in finance, Chitra Durgam, the dentist, Lewis Howes with his podcast. None of them started by asking, "How do I get rich quick?" They asked, "How can I serve people better than anyone else?" That shift in intent changes everything. Practically speaking, before you create any content, ask yourself, am I doing this to take or to give? If you're approaching social media as a transaction, people feel it. They can smell the desperation. But if you approach it as service, as genuine care for your audience's success, that authenticity becomes magnetic. Essential 2. Authenticity. This connects directly to intent. Gary says your authenticity will either make you or break you. In a world where everyone can smell fake from miles away, being genuinely yourself is your greatest competitive advantage. He shares his own journey with Wine Library TV. In the first episodes, he was holding back, trying to be professional and wine experty. It wasn't until he started being his real self, the loud, energetic New Jersey guy who loves boxing and the Jets, that his content exploded. By episode 61, he was saying, "Taste the goddamn wine," and showing clips of himself screaming at NFL drafts. That authenticity built a connection no scripted content ever could. The key insight here is people don't follow perfect people. They follow real people. Your flaws, your personality quirks, your unique perspective, these aren't weaknesses to hide. They're your brand differentiators. Brittany Exavier built her massive Instagram following not by being another perfect fashion blogger, but by sharing her struggles, her jaw surgery that left her face swollen, the mean comments from brand executives. That vulnerability created deeper connections than any perfectly filtered photo could. The action step here is uncomfortable but necessary. Stop trying to be what you think people want you to be. Start creating content that reflects who you actually are, your weird sense of humor, your unconventional views, your specific experiences. Lean into them. The right audience will find you and love you for it. Essential 3. Passion. Gary makes a critical distinction here. You don't need to be passionate about the product you're selling. You need to be passionate about the process of serving people and building your brand. Look at Sean McBride, who became a Snapchat star by documenting whatever interested him. Or Dan and Lincoln cut things in half on camera and built a multi-million-dollar brand. These aren't outliers anymore. They're proof of concept. Gary's core argument is simple but profound. We are living in the best time in human history to build a business around what you love, not what you tolerate, not what pays the bills, what you actually love. The platforms exist. The audience is waiting. The only question is whether you'll stop making excuses and start executing. Let me break down the 8 essentials that Gary identifies as non-negotiable for crushing it. Miss even one of these and you'll struggle. Master all 8 and you become unstoppable. Essential 1. Intent. Your intent is everything. Gary is brutally honest here. If you're getting into this just to make money, you'll probably fail. The entrepreneurs who win are those who genuinely care about serving people. They want to help, to teach, to provide value, to build community. The money comes as a result of that service, not as the goal itself. Here's how Gary explains it. He's made massive amounts of money, but he's also left massive amounts on the table. Why? Because his intent is about legacy, not just wealth. He doesn't sell online courses even though he could make millions, because he believes that would create a conflict where he'd reserve his best content for paying customers. His intent is to give his best stuff away for free, and that intent has built him a loyal audience that will support him forever. Look at the entrepreneurs featured in this book: Brittany Castro in finance, Chikra Durgam, the dentist, Lewis Howes with his podcast. None of them started by asking, "How do I get rich quick?" They asked, "How can I serve people better than anyone else?" That shift in intent changes everything. Practically speaking, before you create any content, ask yourself, am I doing this to take or to give? If you're approaching social media as a transaction, people feel it. They can smell the desperation. But if you approach it as service, as genuine care for your audience's success, that authenticity becomes magnetic. Essential 2. Authenticity. This connects directly to intent. Gary says your authenticity will either make you or break you. In a world where everyone can smell fake from miles away, being genuinely yourself is your greatest competitive advantage. He shares his own journey with Wine Library TV. In the first episodes, he was holding back, trying to be professional and wine experty. It wasn't until he started being his real self, the loud, energetic New Jersey guy who loves boxing and the Jets, that his content exploded. By episode 61, he was saying, "Taste the goddamn wine," and showing clips of himself screaming at NFL drafts. That authenticity built a connection no scripted content ever could. The key insight here is people don't follow perfect people. They follow real people. Your flaws, your personality quirks, your unique perspective, these aren't weaknesses to hide. They're your brand differentiators. Brittany Exavier built her massive Instagram following not by being another perfect fashion blogger, but by sharing her struggles, her jaw surgery that left her face swollen, the mean comments from brand executives. That vulnerability created deeper connections than any perfectly filtered photo could. The action step here is uncomfortable but necessary. Stop trying to be what you think people want you to be. Start creating content that reflects who you actually are. Your weird sense of humor, your unconventional views, your specific experiences, lean into them. The right audience will find you and love you for it. Essential 3. Passion. Gary makes a critical distinction here. You don't need to be passionate about the product you're selling. You need to be passionate about the process of serving people and building your brand. Look at Sean McBride, who became a Snapchat star by documenting whatever interested him. Or Dan Markham, who built a YouTube empire cutting things open with his son. He didn't wake up passionate about cutting things. He was passionate about spending time with his kid and teaching through entertainment. The passion that sustains you through the hard years isn't about loving sports nutrition or real estate or photography. It's about loving the game of building, the challenge of creating content, the satisfaction of helping someone have a breakthrough. That's the passion that protects you when you're exhausted, when the trolls attack, when you're working until 3 a.m. and wondering if anyone even cares. Andy Frisella said it perfectly in his interview. If you don't love what you do, it's going to be very hard to stick it out during the years when you're not making money and everything is hard. Passion is your backup generator when all other energy sources fail. Practically, identify what part of your business actually energizes you. Is it the research, the teaching, the connection with people, the creative process? Double down on that aspect and build your systems around protecting that energy source. Essential 4. Patience. This is where most people fail. They want the result without the process. Gary is clear. You need to eat shit for years, not months, years. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and drove a basic Jeep while building a $60 million business. He could have paid himself hundreds of thousands, but chose to reinvest everything back into the company. Look at the timeline of the entrepreneurs in this book. Amy Schmidt-Tower locked herself away for 2 years creating daily videos before she saw significant traction. Rich Roll nearly lost his house during the lean years. John Lee Dumas spent 8 months consuming podcasts before launching his own, then grinded daily for months before getting real downloads. Pat Flynn built his lead exam website for a year before monetizing. The pattern is consistent: short-term sacrifice for long-term freedom. But here's what makes patience strategic rather than just waiting. You're building equity in your brand every single day. Every piece of content, every engagement, every collaboration adds to a compounding effect that eventually reaches critical mass. Gary warns against the trap of instant gratification. Don't take the quick money. Don't compromise your brand for short-term paycheck. Lauren Everts of The Skinny Confidential turned down massive sponsorship deals because they weren't aligned with her brand. That patience in saying no to the wrong opportunities created space for the right ones. Your action plan: commit to at least 2 years of consistent content creation before you evaluate success. During those 2 years, focus on getting 1% better every day. Study your analytics not to judge yourself, but to learn. Engage with every comment. Improve your craft. Build relationships. The patience isn't passive waiting, it's active preparation. Essential 5. Speed. Now, this seems to contradict patience, but it doesn't. Patience is about the long game. Speed is about daily execution. Gary is obsessed with speed, not rushed, sloppy work, but the ability to act quickly, test rapidly, and iterate constantly. When he got the idea to film a wine show, he didn't spend months planning. He had someone go to Best Buy that day, bought a camera, and filmed episode 1. Done. When he saw an opportunity on a new platform, he didn't wait to see if it would succeed. He jumped in immediately. Speed gives you more at-bats. More attempts mean more learning. More learning means faster improvement. While your competition is stuck in analysis paralysis, debating whether Instagram is worth their time, you've already posted 300 times and figured out what works. The entrepreneurs in this book exemplify speed. Timothy Roman decided to learn video production, so he took every free gig he could find and improved in real time. Rodrigo Tasca moved back home, hired his sister, and started producing client videos within months of learning the basics. They didn't wait for perfect, they executed and improved. Your speed protocol: when you have an idea, execute within 24 hours. Not a perfect execution, a real execution. Film that first video on your phone. Write that first blog post in one sitting. Launch that podcast with basic equipment. Get version 1 into the world, then iterate based on real feedback rather than imaginary fears. Essential 6. Work. Let's be brutally honest about what work actually means in this context. Gary talks about working 15 to 18 hours a day. The entrepreneurs featured in this book describe similar schedules: 4 to 6 hours searching and engaging on Instagram, 10 hours producing content, late nights editing and responding to comments. Brittany Castro worked her corporate finance job, then came home and worked on her business until 2 a.m. Amy Schmidtauer created daily videos while couch surfing and working other jobs. John Lee Dumas launched a daily podcast while working full-time. These aren't people who had extra time. They made time by sacrificing everything else. But here's the nuance Gary emphasizes. This work should feel different from your day job. You're not trading one form of misery for another. You're working intensely on something you love, building something that's yours. Yes, you'll be exhausted. Yes, you'll sacrifice leisure, but you won't feel dead inside the way a soul-crushing job makes you feel. The work breaks down into specific categories: content creation, filming, biting, recording; content distribution, posting, optimizing, scheduling; engagement, responding to comments, DMs, building relationships; business development, reaching out for collaborations, pitching brands, developing products; learning, studying what works, analyzing competitors, improving skills. Your implementation system: block your time ruthlessly. If you have a full-time job, your schedule might look like this: 5 to 7 a.m. content creation, lunch break, engagement and responding; 6 to 11 p.m. mix of creating, distributing, and business development; weekends for batch content creation and strategic planning. Is this sustainable forever? No, but it's necessary for 2 to 5 years to build enough momentum that you can start leveraging systems and teams. The work doesn't disappear, but it transforms from grinding to strategizing. Essential 7. Attention. This is Gary's superpower, and it's learnable. Attention means understanding where eyeballs are going before the masses figure it out. It means seeing patterns in platform growth, user behavior, and content consumption. Gary was early to Twitter, early to Instagram, early to Snapchat. Not because he's psychic, but because he pays attention. He downloads every new app, he watches what teenagers are doing, he tracks where time is being spent. Then he places strategic bets. The entrepreneurs who win do the same thing. Sean McBride saw Musical.ly when it was tiny and became one of its first stars. Chithra Durgam, the dentist, is on Musical.ly creating content about dental hygiene while her peers say it's ridiculous. Costa Kopathanis took his oil change business and went all in on Facebook when others were still doing direct mail. Paying attention means tracking both platforms and content types. Which platforms are gaining daily active users? Where are young people spending time? What content formats are getting highest engagement? What are people sharing? But it also means attention to your specific niche. If you're in real estate, what questions are people asking repeatedly? What problems are they discussing in Facebook groups? What content gets the most saves and shares? This micro attention helps you create content that resonates deeply. Action plan: spend 1 hour per week deliberately exploring new platforms and content trends, not to consume mindlessly, but to analyze strategically. Download apps your target audience might be using, watch what's trending, read platform updates, then test quickly. Post on that new platform, try that new content format, see what happens. Part 2. Platform-specific strategies. Now let's get tactical. Gary breaks down exactly how to use each major platform. This isn't surface-level advice. This is implementation detail. Facebook, your business foundation. Gary is adamant. Everyone building a personal brand must have a Facebook business page. Not optional, required. Why? Facebook offers complete creative flexibility. You can post long text, short text, images, short videos, long videos, audio. It's the Swiss Army knife of platforms. More importantly, Facebook's ad targeting is the most sophisticated that exists. For minimal money, you can reach exactly the people you want with laser precision. Demographics, interests, behaviors, locations. You can target people who like specific competitors, who visited certain websites, who live in specific zip codes. The strategy Gary outlines is create native Facebook content, not recycled posts from other platforms. The algorithm rewards native content. Create value-driven posts that educate, entertain, or inspire. Use video heavily. Facebook is pushing video hard and giving it preferential reach. Facebook Live is powerful for those ready for it. It's difficult. Live content is the hardest format, but it creates intimacy and immediacy no recorded content can match. John Lee Dumas uses Facebook Live for Tea with JLD, spending an hour answering questions in real time. The engagement rate is significantly higher than recorded content. For business development, join relevant Facebook groups, not to spam, but to genuinely participate. Answer questions, provide value, build relationships. When people know you, like you, and trust you, they'll naturally check out your page and become customers. Implementation: create your business page today if you don't have one. Post at least once daily. Mix content types: educational posts, behind the scenes, client stories, tips, personal updates. Spend $50 on a targeted ad to see what happens. Join 5 relevant groups and commit to adding value without asking for anything for at least 30 days. Instagram is visual storytelling powerhouse. Instagram has created more influencers than any platform except YouTube. It's massive, it's engaged, and it rewards both creators and curators. You can build a following by creating original content or by curating and sharing others' great content with proper credit. The key with Instagram is understanding its 2 platforms in one. Your main feed is curated, polished, high-quality visual content. Your stories are raw, authentic, ephemeral. You need both. The feed attracts people. Stories deepen relationships. Gary's business development strategy for Instagram is pure gold. Here it is step by step. First, search relevant hashtags in your niche. If you're in fitness, search fitness-related tags. You'll see people with massive followings. Second, click on those accounts. Facebook Live is powerful for those ready for it. It's difficult. Live content is the hardest format, but it creates intimacy and immediacy no recorded content can match. John Lee Dumas uses Facebook Live for Tea with JLD, spending an hour answering questions in real time. The engagement rate is significantly higher than recorded content. For business development, join relevant Facebook groups, not to spam, but to genuinely participate. Answer questions, provide value, build relationships. When people know you, like you, and trust you, they'll naturally check out your page and become customers. Implementation: create your business page today if you don't have one. Post at least once daily. Mix content types: educational posts, behind the scenes, client stories, tips, personal updates. Spend $50 on a targeted ad to see what happens. Join 5 relevant groups and commit to adding value without asking for anything for at least 30 days. Instagram is visual storytelling powerhouse. Instagram has created more influencers than any platform except YouTube. It's massive, it's engaged, and it rewards both creators and curators. You can build a following by creating original content or by curating and sharing others' great content with proper credit. The key with Instagram is understanding its two platforms in one. Your main feed is curated, polished, high-quality visual content. Your stories are raw, authentic, ephemeral. You need both. The feed attracts people. Stories deepen relationships. Gary's business development strategy for Instagram is pure gold. Here it is step by step. First, search relevant hashtags in your niche. If you're in fitness, search fitness-related tags. You'll see people with massive followings. Second, click on those accounts. Investigate them. Are they in your field? Could they use your services? Are they potential collaborators? Third, send them a custom direct message. Not spam, not copy-paste. A genuine, specific message that mentions something about their content, explains why you're reaching out, and offers clear value. Fourth, repeat this process for 6 to 7 hours every day. Yes, you read that right, 6 to 7 hours. Most people will ignore you. Some will be rude. A tiny percentage will respond positively. That tiny percentage is all you need. Each positive response is a potential collaboration, client, or amplification opportunity. Brittany Xavier built her fashion empire this way. She didn't wait for brands to find her. She reached out to brands, offered value, collaborated strategically, and built relationships that turned into income. Instagram stories changed everything because it removed the pressure of perfection. You can experiment, share rough ideas, show behind the scenes, ask questions, do polls. The intimacy of stories builds deeper connections than polished feed posts ever could. Your Instagram action plan: optimize your bio and make your account public. Post to your feed at least once daily. Mix educational content, lifestyle content, and engagement content. Spend hours searching hashtags and genuinely engaging with relevant accounts. Send 5 to 10 thoughtful DMs to potential collaborators or clients. YouTube is the wealth generator. Gary calls YouTube the most important platform for building a personal brand besides Instagram. The reason is simple. YouTube has created more wealth for influencers than any other platform. The top YouTubers earn millions, but even micro YouTubers can build sustainable income. YouTube is television now. People stream it on their TVs. They watch it more than traditional cable. It's where people go for entertainment, education, and escape. If you can create video content that serves any of those needs, you can build an audience. The beautiful thing about YouTube is that average people are crushing it. You don't need to be glamorous or wealthy or credentialed. You need to be authentic, helpful, and consistent. Dan Markham and his son Lincoln cut things in half and built a multi-million-dollar brand. Rich Roll documented his transformation from overweight lawyer to ultra-athlete and created a media empire. The strategy is simple but demanding. Create one substantial video per week minimum. Make it valuable. Teach something. Entertain genuinely. Share unique perspective. Don't worry about perfection in the beginning. Your first 100 videos are practice. You're finding your voice, improving your delivery, learning what resonates. Gary emphasizes document, don't create. You don't need expensive equipment or professional editing. You need authenticity and value. Pull out your phone and start filming. Talk about what you're learning, what you're building, what you're experiencing. Let people see the real journey. YouTube rewards consistency and watch time. The algorithm wants to keep people on the platform, so if your content keeps people watching, YouTube promotes it. That means your content needs to be genuinely engaging, not clickbait garbage that disappoints. Optimization matters. Titles should be clear and compelling. Thumbnails should stand out. Descriptions should be keyword-rich, and tags should be relevant. But none of that matters if the content itself doesn't deliver value. Implementation plan: create your YouTube channel today. Film your first video on your phone explaining what your channel will be about and why people should subscribe. Don't overthink it. Get it done in one take. Upload it. Then commit to one video per week for the next year. Study your analytics to see what's working. Improve incrementally every single week. Twitter is the conversation platform. Twitter is uniquely powerful for business development and relationship building. It's the water cooler of society where conversations happen in real time. The strategy Gary outlines is beautifully simple. Listen, react, and engage. Here's how it works. Search for topics relevant to your niche. If you're a photographer, search photography-related terms. You'll see everyone who's tweeting about those topics right now. Reply to their tweets with genuine, helpful insights. Not sales pitches, not spam. Actual value. Do this obsessively. Spend 4 to 6 hours daily finding conversations and adding value. When people see you consistently showing up with helpful replies, they check out your profile. If your profile clearly communicates your expertise and value, they follow you. Some become clients. Jared Polin built Fro Knows Photo this way. He answered every email, every Skype call, every question. He made himself available and helpful to everyone. That accessibility built trust and loyalty that translated into a massive following and multiple revenue streams. Twitter is also powerful for getting attention from influencers and media. Journalists and influencers actively monitor Twitter for stories and sources. If you're consistently tweeting valuable insights in your niche, you become discoverable. Rich Roll got media attention by being active and accessible on Twitter. The retweet feature creates viral potential that doesn't exist on other platforms. One great tweet can be retweeted thousands of times, exposing your brand to massive new audiences. You get unlimited attempts to create that viral moment because you can post dozens of times per day without annoying your followers. Your Twitter strategy: tweet at least 5 to 10 times daily. Mix original insights, retweets with commentary, replies to others' tweets, and content promotion. Spend 2 hours daily searching relevant keywords and replying genuinely to conversations. Never be salesy, always add value. Build relationships before asking for anything. Podcasting is the intimacy medium. Podcasting is experiencing explosive growth because it solves a crucial problem. People want to consume content while multitasking. You can't watch a video while driving, but you can listen to a podcast. You can't read a blog while working out, but you can hear a podcast. The intimacy of audio creates deep connections. When someone's voice is in your ears for an hour, you feel like you know them. This parasocial relationship builds trust faster than almost any other medium. That's why podcast listeners are often the most loyal and engaged audience segments. John Lee Dumas proved podcasting could be a daily format. When he started Entrepreneurs on Fire, mentors told him daily was insane. He did it anyway, knowing that frequency would accelerate his learning and create a unique position. Today, his podcast generates hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly. The barrier to entry for podcasting is incredibly low. You need a microphone, recording software, and something valuable to say. That's it. You don't need to be comfortable on camera. You don't need editing skills. You can learn everything you need in a weekend. The strategy is consistency and value. Choose a format that plays to your strengths. Interview format if you're good with people, solo format if you're a strong communicator, co-host format if you have good chemistry with a partner. Then commit to a schedule and never miss. Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income podcast succeeded because he delivered genuine value every single episode. He taught what he learned, shared his revenue numbers, and focused entirely on helping his audience succeed. That service mindset built a loyal audience that supported all his other ventures. Implementation: if you're camera shy but have knowledge to share, podcasting is your medium. Invest in a decent USB microphone. $100 gets you studio quality sound. Choose your format and record your first episode this week. Upload to a hosting platform like Anchor or Buzzsprout. Submit to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Then commit to weekly episodes minimum. Voice first, the next frontier. This is the platform most people are sleeping on, which is exactly why Gary is so bullish on it. Alexa skills and Google Assistant are the new land grab. Right now, there's minimal competition. The audience is growing rapidly. The technology is being built into everything from cars to refrigerators. Voice First solves the ultimate friction problem. Instead of pulling out your phone, unlocking it, finding an app, and typing a query, you just speak. That convenience will become addictive as the technology improves, and whoever owns the voice-first content will own the relationship with consumers. Gary's strategy is simple. Create an Alexa flash briefing skill or Google Assistant action now. Record 1-minute daily tips in your area of expertise. Make them genuinely valuable. Upload them. Promote them on your other platforms. Become the go-to voice in your niche before everyone else figures out this platform matters. The beauty is that voice first requires minimal time investment. 1 hour of recording can create 30 days of flash briefings. But the early mover advantage is massive. When Amazon or Google features your skill as an example of what's possible, millions of people will discover you. Implementation? Google how to create an Alexa skill. Follow the step-by-step tutorials. They're designed for non-technical people. Record 7 1-minute tips. Upload them. Announce to your audience that you now have a flash briefing they can add. Update it weekly. Do this before your competition even knows what a flash briefing is. Part 3. Real success stories and key lessons. Let me share some of the most powerful stories from the book because they illustrate principles in action. Dan Markham and Lincoln, The Power of Documenting Together. Dan was a pharmaceutical sales rep who wanted to be an entrepreneur but kept failing at side hustles. His son, Lincoln, needed help with a second-grade science project. They decided to cut open sports balls to see what's inside. Dan filmed it and posted to YouTube without expecting anything. Almost a year later, he noticed the video was getting views. He and Lincoln started cutting open more things, documenting the process together every Saturday. They treated it like a business, studying analytics, improving storytelling, engaging with every comment. Their breakthrough came when they went viral with a rattlesnake rattle video, something they knew would disappoint viewers because there's nothing inside. But the honesty and entertainment value made it one of YouTube's most viral videos of 2016. 42 million views in the first week. Today, their channel has millions of subscribers. They travel the world cutting things open. Dan quit his sales job. They're earning 7 figures, all because they documented something simple, a father and son spending time together and being curious. The lesson: you don't need a sophisticated concept. You need authenticity, consistency, and genuine enthusiasm. Let people watch you learn and grow. That journey is the content. Brittany Castro. Breaking rules in regulated industries. Brittany was a certified financial planner who wanted to build her own firm but faced massive regulatory constraints. Financial services have strict rules about marketing and communication with clients. Most advisors use that as an excuse to not build a personal brand. Brittany did the opposite. She got compliance approval for everything she posted. She launched a blog, YouTube channel, and Twitter account. She created a rap video about financial literacy that her peers said was unprofessional. She didn't care. She wasn't creating content for old advisors. She was creating for young people who needed financial help, but found traditional advisors boring and inaccessible. She went on Facebook Live regularly, answering financial questions in real time. She made finance approachable, authentic, and even fun. The result? She built financially wise women into a thriving practice serving women and couples who would never have hired a traditional advisor. The lesson: regulations are not excuses. Every industry has constraints. Figure out how to build your brand within those constraints rather than using them as reasons not to try. Andy Frisella, the 18-year overnight success. Andy started a supplement store with his business partner in his early 20s. For 10 years, the business barely survived. He was making about $50,000 a year, enough to live on, but nowhere near his dreams. Everything changed when he read Crush It and realized he was focused on making money instead of serving customers. He shifted his entire approach to genuinely caring about customer results. The business doubled every year for 5 years straight. He started sharing his journey on social media, being brutally honest about the struggles and sacrifices. He launched the MFCEO podcast, which became massively successful. Today, his companies do over $200 million in annual revenue. But here's the key: it took 18 years. 18 years of grinding, failing, learning, adjusting, and persisting. When people see his success now, they don't see the decade of sleeping in the back of the store or the years of barely scraping by. They just see the end result. The lesson: overnight success takes years. Be prepared for that. The people who win are those who keep going when everyone else quits. Pat Flynn, the accidental entrepreneur. Pat was an architect who got laid off during the 2008 recession. While studying for the LEED certification exam, he created a website to organize his notes. After he passed, he forgot about the site. Months later, he discovered thousands of people were using it. He wrote an ebook with his study materials and charged $20. It sold a lot. Within months, he was making more from the ebook than from his architecture salary. He realized he could help people prepare for the exam better than anyone else because he genuinely cared about their success. Today, smart passive income generates millions annually through podcasts, courses, and affiliate income. But Pat's secret isn't sophisticated marketing. It's radical transparency and genuine service. He publishes his revenue numbers. He shares his failures. He answers every question. He gives away his best content for free. The lesson: when you genuinely care about helping people succeed, they reward that care with loyalty and purchases. Your job isn't to sell. Your job is to serve so well that people want to support you. The final implementation framework. Let me give you the exact 90-day plan to start crushing it based on everything we've covered. Days 1 through 7, foundation. Day 1, choose your niche based on the intersection of what you know and what you love. Don't overthink this. You can adjust later. Day 2, create accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Optimize all profiles with clear descriptions of who you are and what value you provide. Day 3, create your first pillar content, a 10-minute video, a 1,000-word blog post, or a 15-minute podcast episode. Make it valuable. Don't wait for perfect. Day 4, break that pillar content into 10 micro pieces. Pull quotes, key points, behind the scenes, questions to audience. Day 5, post the micro content across all platforms. Write native captions, use relevant hashtags, tag relevant accounts. Day 6, spend 4 hours engaging. Reply to every comment on your posts. Find relevant hashtags and comment on others' posts genuinely. Send 5 DMs to potential collaborators. Day 7, analyze what got the most engagement. Make notes on what worked and what didn't. Plan next week's content based on these insights. Days 8 through 30, consistency. Create one piece of pillar content per week. Post daily on Instagram and Facebook. Tweet 5 to 10 times daily. Engage for 2 hours every single day. Send 10 DMs to build relationships. Study 1 hour per week on how to improve your craft. Watch tutorials on better filming, writing, or audio recording. Analyze successful creators in your niche. Note what they do well. Track your metrics, but don't obsess. Note follower growth, engagement rate, which content performs best. Use data to improve, not to judge yourself. Days 31 through 90, acceleration. By now, you should have created 12 to 13 pieces of pillar content and hundreds of micro-content posts. Your skills have improved. You're getting clearer on what resonates. Now it's time to accelerate. Increase content output to 2 pillar pieces per week if possible. Start collaborating with others in your niche. Pitch to appear on podcasts or YouTube channels. Offer to guest post on blogs. Launch your podcast if you haven't yet. Start doing Instagram or Facebook Live once per week. Create your Alexa flash briefing skill. Test video content if you've been doing only written content, or vice versa. Most importantly, never stop engaging. The biggest mistake people make is they start getting traction and stop doing the grinding engagement work that got them there. Keep commenting, keep DMing, keep building relationships one person at a time. The mindset shifts required. Success in this game requires fundamental mindset shifts that most people never make. Shift 1, from consumption to creation. You have to stop being primarily a consumer and become primarily a creator. That means when you see great content, instead of just enjoying it, analyze it. Why did it work? How can you adapt that approach? What can you learn? Shift 2, from perfection to iteration. Your first attempts will be bad. Accept that. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Every piece you create teaches you something. Value the lesson more than the result. Shift 3. From asking to giving. Stop thinking about what you can get and focus entirely on what you can give. When you DM someone, offer value first. When you engage, help without expecting anything back. Give massively, consistently, genuinely. The returns come later, but they come. Shift 4. From short-term to long-term. This is a marathon, not a sprint. The people who win are those who commit to showing up every day for years, not weeks, not months, years. Make that commitment now and you'll outlast 99% of competition. Shift 5. From external validation to internal standards. You can't control whether people like your content. You can control whether you show up, whether you give your best effort, whether you improve each day. Focus on what you control. Let results be a byproduct of excellent process. The final challenge. Here's the uncomfortable truth Gary forces you to confront. The only thing stopping you is you, not your age, not your location, not your resources, not your background. You. There's a 75-year-old woman who could launch a podcast this year and become a top podcaster. There's a dentist who's crushing it on Musical.ly. There's a kid cutting things open with his dad, making millions. The excuses you're making? Someone else has the same constraints and is succeeding anyway. So what's your move? You can close this video, nod along, think that's interesting, and change nothing. Most people will do exactly that. Or you can recognize this for what it is, your moment. The platforms exist. The opportunities are real. The only variable is your commitment. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. Gary doesn't promise easy. He promises possible. He promises that if you work harder than everyone else, if you care more deeply, if you show up more consistently, if you provide more value, you will win. Not might win, will win. The question is whether you're willing to do what winning requires. Are you willing to work nights and weekends for years? Are you willing to face the doubt and the criticism and the loneliness? Are you willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term freedom? If the answer is yes, then you already know what to do. Stop watching this video and start creating. Film that first video, write that first post, record that first episode, send those first DMs, put in those first 6 hours of engagement. Do it today. Do it badly. Do it scared, but do it. Because a year from now, you'll either wish you had started today or you'll be grateful that you did. This is Millionaire Playbook. Subscribe right now if you're serious about building something real, because we're going to keep bringing you the exact blueprints being used by people who transformed their lives from ordinary to extraordinary. The information is here. The opportunity is real. The only question is whether you'll execute. Now stop watching this video and start building. Your future is waiting, and it won't build itself.